Hello, my name is James J., and this is one of my lectures, what I've been calling a mini lecture on a different element of craft. And today we'll talk about the importance of keeping a writing journal. In the Rose Medal Press anthology that we've been working on, the flash fiction anthology, there's an essay by Stuart Dybek, who's one of the key short story writers in the U.S. Really over the last 20, 30 years. And what his section emphasizes is the importance of keeping a writing journal. He begins that section he talks a little bit about Richard Brautigan, who is a famous American short story and writer and poet. And he talks about his use of short stories, and then he gets into this writing journal. So I'm going to read this a little bit. He says, in Richard Brautigan's story collection, Revenge of the Lawn, there's a 4-sentence piece titled Lint that I often bring to writing workshops. Sometimes I also bring on the first day of class the gift of a pocket notebook for each student. It isn't to be used as a journal, but as a great thoughts notebook. I think of it as akin to the sketchbook that an artist carries, that pad of paper by which the hand, through exercise, acquires its own intelligence. A notebook is a net for collecting stray perceptions, dreams, which are usually only the fragments of dreams, memories, which are usually only the fragments of events, and other fragments, images, lines of dialogues, quotations from books, the stuff that Brautigan might call lint, which opens up, which he uses to open up that story with. I think that that's a great way of putting things as far as you thinking of a writing journal as a way of casting a net, and it's something that I usually keep I'll get like a kind of relatively cheap little writing journal on my own, and I'll put, these are just sort of stickers of things either like Punk Rock Magazine that I subscribe to. I get a sticker. This is some Irish football and Irish hurling, a club I play with. So I'll kind of throw stickers, notes, and this kind of stuff through there. And then I'll end up writing stray thoughts. I like the idea that Dybek gets after, that we think of things not necessarily when we're recalling old memories. It's usually just fragments, right? Images. We don't think of whole complete stories. We have to construct those. But there's oftentimes these just kind of little slight images or sounds or just sort of odd details from the past that we'll recall, as well as dreams, any other places that we might get ideas from. And it's worthwhile to have, I think, one of those writing journals around. Now, Dybek talks about these, when he's talking to his students, he thinks of it as something great that they should be up to when they're writing in that journal. I think that's a little bit of pressure. I don't necessarily like to do that. If you want to keep a writing journal and you want to only put ideas that you might potentially be using for class in there or for your own writing in there, great. I, with my journals, will have everything there, including shopping lists, to-do list, fairly dull things, but I just have a habit of writing everything down in there. And then I like to sift through the mess. The more messy, the better. Like I said, I'll put other stray notes. If I've gone to hear a concert or something, I'll throw concert tickets in there, receipts, all kinds of things. I might come back to them. I probably don't. Yeah, oftentimes I don't. But if I am working on a project and I'm thinking, and I want something to really get me thinking, or I guess if I'm getting stuck, if I've started writing for a little while and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going, sometimes I'll thumb through an old journal and I'll see there were stray images, dreams, thoughts, fragments of memory that might inform my own writing. So I would very much encourage you to keep a writing journal, whether you want to call it your Great Expectations writing journal like Dybek and work in that sort of tradition. Terrific. Sometimes, as I said, what I like to do is I like to just have sort of a mess of notes and kind of take the pressure off that notion of writing something great. Sometimes it's just best to get something on the page where you can start crafting and shaping and working with it. So one of the things in this class, I would say early on, get yourself a writing journal. It doesn't have to be expensive, probably shouldn't be expensive. I think that's kind of a waste. But just some place where you can keep track of your thoughts, ideas, just stray things that pop up, something kind of pocket-sized. There's a poet up in Montana named Dave Thomas. He was a pretty well-known poet that worked quite a bit of construction and big jobs, on the Cooley Dam up there and these type of things. And what he would always have is he'd have a little journal he'd keep in his pocket. So he'd have a little shirt pocket, oftentimes with a safety protection kind of gear and that type of thing. But he'd have something that would be small enough that he could fit his writing journal in, so that he would keep that, and on breaks or whenever he had a chance at work, he'd be making notes. And so he ends up with these short lines. I remember one time years ago I asked him why he always writes in these short lines. He's like, well, that's how my pocket journal was, and that's how I was writing a lot of these things. When I was working on these projects, that's all the time I'd have and all the space I'd have, and I could slip that in and get right back to work. And he said, I just got in the habit of, that's how I saw literature, that's how I saw writing. And so I need to come up with a lot of these short, brief lines. So something to keep in mind. The main thing is make sure it's practical, but get some of those stray thoughts in your heads down onto the page where you can start working with them. So thank you so much. Hopefully that's useful on journals. If there's any other things you would want to add, I'll leave the comments open below this video, and you can do that then. All right, good luck with your writing.